Maya was already in the process of shaving off the smaller branches to prepare the branch to be used by them when carrying the wolf. Unsheathing a dagger, James began removing the smaller branches. Compared to earlier, it didn't take much effort. James found the process to be relatively easy. The dagger wasn't dulled from cutting the branch, so it was still sharp. He was glad that the metal prevented any damage from being made on the weapon. Though, he knew that he'd need to sharpen both daggers at some point before he slept. It wouldn't be a good idea for his weapons not to be ready in case the camp was attacked by monsters. An image of him trying to stab a monster, but both daggers failing to pierce into the hide, came to his mind. "And that's that," Maya said in a cheerful voice. James smiled as he looked at the branch, which was now a useful pole. "We should head back to Mim and Celine." Maya stood up from her crouching position. She casually patted herself down, brushing off the bits of bark. James used the branch to help himself back up. "Getting old, huh?" Maya teased. "Young lady, I will not have you tease this old man." James tried to make himself sound like an old man as he hunched his back and used the pole like a walking stick. Giggling, Maya said, "You look pretty convincing, but don't worry, I'll protect you from the scary monsters with my bow." Straightening, James grinned. The two of them made their way back to Mim and Celine at a fast pace. When they saw Mim and Celine, James noticed that Mim had already prepared the branch that James had brought before. The pole placed between the legs of one of the wolves. "Glad to see that the two of you are back. We need to be leaving soon," Mim said. "The night is growing, and we need to return to the group. I don't want to make them worry any longer than necessary." Nodding at Mim's words, James quickly walked over to the other wolf. He slid the pole between the legs and under the rope that tied the set of legs together. Maya had positioned herself on the other side, taking the pole in hand. James and Maya lifted the wolf, grunting a little due to the weight of the monster. "At least there's plenty of meat on this thing." James grinned as he placed his end of the pole on his shoulder. "Let's go," Mim said. They quickly began heading in the direction of where their group was camped and waiting for them. Despite the darkness that surrounded them, James was able to see dozens of feet ahead of him. The slight light allowed him to maneuver between the trees. But with Maya connected to him through the pole, James knew that he had to make sure to keep her in mind. The two of them were able to work together as they quickly ran in the dark. "Though I'm able to see ahead, I wish that we were able to use our lanterns," James thought to himself as he sighed. It was annoying that they had to keep monsters so much in mind instead of being able to do what was comfortable. Not wanting to let his negative thoughts control him, James flipped his situation into a positive one. "Just think of this as training for when it's important to keep ourselves concealed. But we need to quickly move," James said. "It won't be long until we get to the camp," Maya said. Sighing, James nodded as he followed after Mim and Celine. Though he was confident of his sense of direction, having to pay attention while running in the dark and sensing for any movement that could signal monsters coming towards their position made him not want to test his abilities. "I don't want to see whether I'll get lost in the forest," James thought.